Hey, welcome to Jolly Good News Report, the Jolly Good News Report here with Dr. Willie Jolley. Hope you are having a great Memorial Day weekend, and I am excited. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. You know, when I was in school, they say, good morning to you, good morning to you. We're all in our places with bright, shiny faces. This is the way to start a good day. Well, the good morning to each and every one of you, and hope you are ready for a great day, great Memorial Day weekend. I got some good news for you today, and I am excited about what I'm going to share with you today. So welcome, and let me first take a moment to tell you about Memorial Day and the fact that I did some research as part of my daily radio show and my daily video programming, the 1-minute motivational messages that we send out every day on our newsletter list. And if you're not on the newsletter list, I'd recommend you do it, because we send out nothing but good news, uplifting, encouraging, inspirational information to help you do more, to be more, to achieve more, and to have great success in every part of your life. Well, this week on our newsletter for the 1-minute messages, as well as for my daily 1-minute message on the Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell show on Radio 1 stations across the country, I talk about Memorial Day. And as I start today, I want to tell you about Memorial Day. Memorial Day was actually started after the Civil War. Now, Memorial Day is a day that is set aside to recognize, commemorate the memory of those who were killed in war for America. So anybody who has been killed in war, we want to memorialize and we want to celebrate and commemorate their sacrifice. And so Memorial Day was originally called Decoration Day, where you would decorate the graves of the fallen. But they changed it to Memorial Day. Now, the original first commemoration, or what they have, is found from a professor named David Light from Yale University, who did research that the first Memorial Day was held outside of Charleston, South Carolina. And it was created by freed slaves who were celebrating the Union soldiers who had come to set them free at the end of the Civil War. Now, it's so interesting that the beginning of the Civil War started right outside of Charleston, South Carolina, but that one of the last battles in the Civil War was right outside of Charleston, South Carolina. And these freed slaves were celebrating and commemorating the Union soldiers who died in that battle. Some of those soldiers were freed slaves and former slaves themselves. So they had black and white slaves, former slaves, black and white soldiers, and some of them were former slaves that they were celebrating, commemorating. Now, here's what we want you to know, is that those freed slaves who started that Decoration Day said the reason they did it was to celebrate, commemorate, and thank those people who were willing to give their lives for them so that they could make their futures better and the futures for their children a possibility. So what I want to say to you as we celebrate this Memorial Day is that I hope you are going to make a point to be grateful, to have a positive attitude and a gratitude for the ancestors who were willing to celebrate their freedom so that they could make the future better for their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, and their great-great-great-great-grandchildren. So God bless them, and we're going to celebrate their memory and Memorial Day with the spirit of excellence, and all the others over the years who have given the ultimate sacrifice. We thank them, we honor them, we commemorate them and memorialize them. So Memorial Day, that's where it started, and we're grateful. Now let me tell you the impact of this good news report. So many of you have said that you are really enjoying the fact that on one day a week, you can know where you're going to get some good news first thing in the morning. You're going to get some good news. Well, we can get it hopefully at your church, but if you, in terms of a news report. that is good news. And I'm telling you, it's still good news in the good news. In Proverbs, there's good news throughout. I encourage everybody to do what I do every day. Every day I read one proverb a day. I read a proverb for that day every day. So today, if the day were the 10th of the month, I would read the 10th proverb. I'd read it in the New King James Version as well as the Message Version. I love the Message Version of the Bible because it's really New English. I mean, it's modern day communication and it's always motivational. And so, but what I would encourage you to do is to do that. But what I love out of that is this. In Proverbs, it talks about good news is like medicine for your soul. It's like medicine for your bones. It's like elixir for your attitude. Good news. And that's why I want to give you good news to uplift, to encourage, inspire, and empower you that you are blessed, highly favored, and that you're going to do great things with your life because you choose to do it. So, good morning and good morning. Now, I said good morning again because I want to give you a lesson about your attitude and jump-starting your attitude like we do every week. Every week, you know, we do a chant. I'm going to give you the chant in a minute, but about the power of your communication to jumpstart your attitude, because your attitude is so critically important as part of your success. I have for many years been telling audiences when I speak for their companies to make a point to say good news, good morning, good news by saying good morning to at least 10 people. You put in good news in your own body by saying good morning to at least 10 people. When you say good morning to people, now, of course, with this time of coronavirus, you might not be around as many people, but you can call people. You can have conversation with people outside your window, outside your door, walking down the street, as long as they got social distance. But I have for many years made it a point to say good morning to 10 people. And so sometimes I sit out on my porch during this coronavirus crisis time and say, good morning, good morning, good morning. When I'm not in this crisis time, when I was on my way to the gym, I stop at 7-Eleven, I stop at Wawa to get some coffee. I'd say, good morning. Now, some of the people I would say good morning to would say nothing back at me. Some of the people would grunt. What's good about it? I continue to say good morning to at least 10 people. And each time I say it a little louder. I would say it a little more emphatically. Why? Because I'm not saying it for them. I'm saying it for me. See, if I hear good morning 10 times, I have said it in my hearing 10 times. And faith cometh by hearing. So I've said it 10 times. And then that means that I am conditioning my brain and my thinking that it's going to be a good morning. If I had a good morning, and I said that very often, and I've said it 10 times, then I'm on my way to a good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon, I'm on my way to a good evening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, I've had a good day. I repeat that day 7 times, I've had a good week. I repeat that week 4 times, I've had a good month. I repeat that month 12 times, I've had a good year. And it started by me taking a moment every day to say good morning to 10 people. So the impact of your words, the impact of your affirmations, incredible. So by just saying good morning, you're jump-starting your attitude. So as I did last week, and so many of you said you enjoyed it, I'm going to ask you to do this week. I'm not going to make you stay in, because I know some of you are driving, some of you are maybe at work, some of you are seated, but I'm going to let you repeat after me wherever you are with this affirmation that I do with my team every day. We are all over the place. We meet every morning with Zoom calls, and we do our chant by Zoom, and it inspires us all and get us going. Here we go. Repeat after me. Say, I'm healthy. I'm healthy. I am grateful because I'm healthy. From the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, I am healthy and I am wealthy. I am happy and I am whole. I feel terrific. I feel terrific. I am blessed and highly favored. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. And I pray, send prosperity, send wealth my way today. And I'm going to do all I can to make it come my way. Amen. And we do that chant. We do it every morning when we get fired up. So I want you to go to jollygoodnews.org, and you can actually get access to that chant. So you can do it in your office, in your home, in your community group. Do that as part of your daily routine. It will have a powerful impact. Now, statistics. Let me give you the latest statistic. As we talk about every week, we've been doing this now for almost 10 weeks. And we've been giving statistics every week. Now, when you go to the regular news, they tell you the first statistic is how many people were infected by the coronavirus crisis. The second statistic they give is how many people died. But you're not going to get that here. Oh, no. Not happening. What we're going to do is tell you the real good news, that 2,200,000 people went home from the hospital who had coronavirus crisis or had coronavirus around the world. Over 2,200,000 recovered. That's good news. Is that good news or good news? That's good news. Some of those people were older people. Let me tell you one of those people, Max Louise. He is 99 years old. He's a survivor of World War II. He's a World War II hero, two-time Purple Heart recipient. He enlisted in the Army after Pearl Harbor, the Pearl Harbor incident and attack. And he was stricken with coronavirus. But as he was going into the hospital with coronavirus, he was having a hard time breathing. He said, let me tell you one thing. And they said, yes, sir. I'll be coming back out of here. I will survive this. Trust me. And they said, wow, he's barely able to get his breath. They have to put him on a ventilator. But the last thing he said as he was going to that hospital, he said, I'm a warrior, not a worrier. I love that. He said, I'm a warrior, not a worrier. And when he came out of the hospital, he said, I told you, I am a warrior and not a worrier. And I love that. I had to share that with you. Okay, we got another story, good news story. Every week I would tell you a little more about our good friend, the captain, Tom Moore in England, who was another World War II veteran. He captured the heart of the world after successfully raising millions of dollars for healthcare workers fighting the novel coronavirus crisis. He has been officially, since we last spoke, he raised over $40 million. He was only planning to raise $1,000, and he got over $40 million were donated because he decided he was going to walk around his backyard 100 laps every day before his 100th birthday. Well, as a result of his commitment and walking on his walker, he raised $40 million for charities, a new Guinness World Record. And he was featured in a song that went to #1 on the UK pop chart. So he was the oldest #1 recipient of a #1 gold record. And this week, he was knighted as a knight by the royal family. He remained humble. He said, I'm grateful that I was able to make a difference. Wow. One more good news story. This one is from South Africa. I love South Africa, by the way. And of all the countries I've traveled and visited, that's probably my favorite place because there's something about that country that speaks to my spirit. And I was there when Mandela was alive, Mandiba, as they called him in South Africa. But we were able to go to Cape Town and Johannesburg, Soweto. We were able to go to Zulu Nation, the Sun City. We went all over South Africa. I spoke for Coca-Cola South Africa and did a tour. Well, we had a great time, but there was a great news story that came out about South Africa. South Africa had some rival gangs who had been warring and had been fighting each other, but they called a truce this week so that they could make a commitment to serve food to the poor of South Africa. And they said, we want to make a difference. And so they're no longer fighting each other, they're fighting this pandemic. I love that story. So thank God for that. Thank God for those who made that commitment and made a difference in the lives of others. I want to say to every one of you that good news is that we can make a difference. Good news is that we can impact people's lives wherever you are. And by helping somebody else, what you're doing is you're not only blessing them, but you're blessing yourself. Just like I said about saying good morning, you're really getting the blessing. Well, I like to say it like this. When you squirt a little perfume on someone else, can't help but get a little bit on you. And so the more you do for others, the better you do for yourself. So do something good for somebody this week. Speak to them. Give them a compliment. Give them a little love. If you can help them one way or the other, help somebody, because you're squirting that perfume and it can't help but get some on yourself. Now, I want to another good news that I'm excited about is because of this Jolly Good News report now, we have been invited to expand it to more places. And I told you my goal was to find ways to get this message, a positive message, a good news message to more people in more cities and more states and more countries and more continents. And so that's one of the reasons why we encourage people to go to the jollygoodnews.org site and make a donation. And we have made a commitment. We're going to do a number of things. We're going to expand this programming and this messaging to get to more people. We're going to find a way to get my book, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback, into prisons. That's one of my goals, because so many people in prison have written me over the years and said, can we get a copy of that book? My friend had it. It gave them hope. I tell the story about how this Setback Setup for a Comeback book was not a book that was from me. I like to say it was through me. And that's why so many people will say, I heard so-and-so quote that, a setback setup for a comeback, and they get the credit. I said, I don't really care, because see, God blessed me to be the conduit that got that book and that messaging into the world. It is a powerful book, and I often go back to it, and I'll pull it off the shelf, and I'll read it and say, wow, that's powerful. But I knew it was through me. God blessed me to be able to be the one to write it, but it was from him to you. So I encourage you to get that book. Well, we got so many people in prison who want that book. And so I want to make sure we get it in the form that they can receive it, because they can't get hardcover books, because that could be a weapon. So we have to print them in a certain format, a certain size. That's why we're going to raise money for that. Second, well, let me tell you the story first before I go second, why that's so important and how God said to me, I'm going to confirm with you how important it is. Some years ago, I was on the floor doing sit-ups in the gym. And one of the gym trainers walked by. He had the shirt on, had the big muscles, and he said, sir, you're not doing that correctly. Let me show you how to do that, and it'll get more impact. I said, please do, because I need every little bit of help I can get. And so he showed me a better way to doing the sit-ups, and I said, thank you very much. I said, I appreciate that. What's your name? He told me his name, and I said, great. And he said, sir, what's your name? I said, my name is Willie Jolley. He said, what was that? I said, my name is Willie Jolley. Willie Jolley? Yes. Would you happen to be the Willie Jolley who writes books? Yeah, I write books. Are you the Willie Jolley who wrote the book, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback? I said, yeah, that's me. Thank you for knowing that book. And it looked like he had seen a ghost. His eyes got wide. He said, sir, could you come with me for a second? I need to speak to you privately. I said, okay. So I went back into the office area. He closed the door and he started crying. His big 6'4" muscles busting out of his shirt, started weeping. I didn't know what was going on. Then he composed himself and he said, I got accused of a crime I did not commit. And I got thrown into jail. And they threw away the key. They said it was a life sentence. I did not do it. And I was hopeless. And my mother sent me a copy of your book, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback. And she said, hold on. Don't give up. I know you didn't do it. I know you're innocent. And he said, where I was despondent and ready to end my life by being in that jail, her message of that in that book gave me hope. And I held on. In the meantime, my mother had sent my case to the Innocence Project. And they did the research and found out that the DNA was not consistent. And I did not do what they had claimed I had done. And I was eventually released. While I was in jail, after I'd read the book, though, in the time it took for them to do that, I started working on my personal development, physical development certification. And now I'm a trainer here because I have been certified. And it wouldn't have happened without that book. A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback. Thank you. I never thought I'd meet you. And I thank God today I met you. I said, wow. And it was then that I was confirmed, I was convicted that I've got to get this book into more prisons so they can know that their past does not equal their future. I got to get it into juvenile justice facilities. I've got to get it to people who have lost hope. So if you want to help us in that process, you can make a donation at jollygoodnews.org. The other thing I want to do is get my PBS special for young people into schools. And now, because of the new online learning, I want to be able to get digital programming to educators so that they can give some online training from my PBS special, Dare to Dream, Dare to Win, to young people so they don't go to jail in the first place. They can be inspired to stay away from drugs, stay away from negative people, stay away from alcohol, stay away from things that will get them off track and help them pursue academic excellence and wise choices. Again, that's another goal. And then the third goal is we raise the money so that we can make a donation to the African American Museum, because my father was one of the first African American White House correspondent. He was a newspaper man. And I want to be able to make sure we get some of his materials and some of the other materials and the necessary revenues they need to keep that wonderful museum going. So, and lastly is scholarships. We want to make sure we give scholarships because we got some very deserving young people who is not just a need-based scholarship, but it's also a achievement-based scholarship, that they achieved something. So we want to do that. So jollygoodnews.org. So I want to encourage you to do that. So that book will make a difference in people's lives. So I want to encourage you that what we're doing now is we're making a point to encourage people, to inspire people, uplift people, and tell them that it's possible to do incredible, magnificent, unbelievable things. This week, I did a show on my daily show about a lady named Mother Elizabeth McCullough. Now, Mother McCullough, I met at First Baptist Church of Glen Arden, which is my church. I was speaking there for a Christian Business Institute event. She was there. Her son Ricky is a deacon, and she was visiting him from Charlotte, North Carolina. And at the end of my message, she was so excited. She came up to want to get a book signed. And we were talking, and as I'm signing book, I always talk to people. I said, well, tell me about yourself. She said, well, I'm retired, been retired a long time, and now I go and I see the old folks. I said, what did you say? She said, I go and visit the old folks. I said, well, how old are you? And at that point, she was 75, and she said, I'm young. Oh, I might not be young in years, but I'm young in attitude and state of mind. And that's why I'm able to continue to do what I do. Travel all over the place, drive and go places, because I might be older in years, but I'm young in attitude and state of mind. So this year on Mother's Day, I called Mother McCullough, as I try to do every Mother's Day. And she said, I'll be 90 soon. And I've still got that young attitude, Dr. Jolley. I still got that young state of mind, Dr. Jolley. I'm still driving and going to see them old folks. I'm going to do that, help them out, because I feel like $1 million. I want you to get that kind of attitude for your life. Get that kind of attitude for your future. I don't care what age you are. I want you to have a positive attitude, because your attitude ultimately determines your altitude and your optimism for the future. Well, look, I was giving you some good news that we're expanding. So we appreciate your donation so we can find television stations, but we are grateful for my friend Devin Stewart from Livestream Television, who's now creating a channel to be able to put my Jolly Good News on. So you can follow us on all of our social media, and we'll be promoting when we're going to be launching our Jolly Good News report on Livestream Television. Good news, good news, good news. Well, look, I hope you enjoyed today's message. I hope you got it today that there's good news from the good news. It's good news for your health. It's good for your bones. It's good for your spirit. And there's good news statistics. 2 million people are home with their families, and that you were born to be blessed and highly favored. And this is going to be a great week for you because you choose to be. Have a great Memorial Day. And remember, as I say to you every week, to my XM show, to my daily radio show, and I say to everybody I talk to, and including you, for sure, I want you to know your best is still yet to come. God bless you. May God smile on you, and may heaven smile upon you. And I love you. Keep the good news going. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. God bless you. Bye-bye.